The best thing about my investigations, in fact, one of the best things about science, is that sometimes you get to be really messy. But Maria, seriously, why are we collecting all this green slime?
Well, Howie, that's not just green slime. That's actually a marine algae. And it's made up of loads of little cells. It's helping me to find out something about the pollution along this coastline.
You mean, in my hand I'm holding thousands of individual cells?
Not just thousands of cells, probably millions.
So it's back to Maria's lab at Plymouth University to take a closer look.
Well, it just so happens I have a magnifying glass. Still can't see anything. Perhaps I need to take the magnification up a bit. How about a microscope? Well, I've got a magnification now of about 1,000 times, and I can see lots of little blobs.
Well, each one of those blobs is an individual cell. And if we want to see those bigger now, we ought to go and look with an electron microscope. In this picture here, you can see the sheet of cells of the algae. We can see that sheet of cells has been split across the top to open it up for us and see the individual cells now with a magnification of over 1,500 times.
That's incredible, actually, isn't it? I mean, I'm looking at that. That means that about there to there is going to be the equivalent of a pinhead.
That's right, yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Really big.
Can we go any tighter?
Yeah, we can get even bigger here. OK, now we've got the cell here magnified over 13,000 times. And here we can see that this cell is slightly different from an animal cell in that it's got this cell wall on the outside. All the way around the cell, we've got the cell wall.
Now, apart from a plant cell's outer wall, the algae cell is actually very similar to all cells. There's the protective membrane around the cell, the nucleus, which acts like the nerve centre controlling everything that goes on in the cell, and the cytoplasm, where chemicals and food are made.
So, out of all this, what part of the cell are you particularly interested in?
Well, I'm particularly interested in this outer cell membrane that's holding the whole cell together. It's a very important part of the cell structure because it controls the entry and exit of chemicals into and out of the cell. If it becomes damaged, for example, by a pollutant, then it loses that control of chemicals that enter and leave the cell.
So, if the cell's membrane has been damaged by pollution, chemicals in the cytoplasm, including potassium, will leak out. We can use this experiment to see how much potassium has leaked from the algae cells gathered at a test site, and then compare the results with a control sample of algae that we know hasn't been affected by pollution at all.
So, Maria, what do these figures actually tell us?
Well, these figures, Harry, actually look quite good. They show that the algae from the site that you collected it from is actually quite healthy.
Why is that important? Why are you looking at algae?
Well, algae are a good indicator of pollution. They're static. They can't move away from the pollution. Also, they're a very important part of the food chain. Other organisms depend on them.
Which means lots and lots of testing, no matter what the weather.
No rest for the serious scientist. Must go out and work, work, work. Oh, no, you go, mate. Don't mind me. I'm just going to go and get some algae. Oh, I love it. I think like algae.